An unknown error has occurred.
Yeah, man. Friggin' all the way back to 2001.
I had just watched the second Austin Powers movie.
How old was I in 2001? That's very young.
Wait,
I was 9.
or the first one? I can't remember. Second one. First one.
So it must have been 13.
First Wayne's World movie. First, this movie. I don't know.
Monsters Inc.
Was that
No, that would have
2001?
been after. That would have been before.
Really?
Yeah, I think Maybe.
2001 or 2002?
I don't know.
I just know I love it. Sully for life.
No, yeah, when she's like, Kitty! I was like, damn, gotta like...
Kitty.
Whatever year Monsters Inc. was, that was also like if you look back at like the Academy Awards nominations that year, it's just fucked.
Beautiful Mind, Amelie. AI was also that year. Sorry, I moved. AI, and then Mulholland Drive. Lord of the Rings was 2001.
Yeah,
That's true. That's true.
it's,
Donnie Darko.
It's sort of just
Moulin Rouge. Royal Tenenbaums. First Ocean's 11. Legally Blonde. But then Jurassic Park 3.
fantastic film.
Shallow Hal.
Well, you know what wasn't nominated?
Wet
What?
Hot.
What we're talking about today. Hello and welcome to the Unknown Air Podcast.
Segway. Awesome. Segway
This is the podcast where every week we, the three of us, sit around and challenge each other to check out, consume some piece of media, whether it's a movie, TV show, album, some other thing. We challenge each other to check something out, whether it's good, bad, or terrible, or ugly, or fantastic, or makes us cry, or any of that. And then we sit around and we talk and chat about it, give our sort of thoughts and ideas and synopsis and reviews. But we also want to know yours, too. So make sure to, if you've seen what we're talking about this week, it's Wet Hot American Summer. Then, leave what you think of the film. We're talking about the 2001 movie, the original movie. Or even let us know what you think of the Netflix series. We're probably going to mention that as well. And give us your review of that. And also tell us what you think about what we're talking about next week. Which, this is a little sneak preview. I'll talk about it at the end of the episode if you're watching this. If you're listening to the podcast, I'm holding in my hand a very popular graphic novel that is going to be my pick for next week.
Ooh.
But more on that later.
Yeah. I did
More
my
on-
homework in
more-
advance.
More on that later. But as always, I'm your host Martin Bennett, and with me, as always, Rick.
Rick.
And Roddy.
Yep, that's me.
Something happened in the background. Anyways, Wet Hot American Summer. This was Rick's pick.
Woo. Rick's pick
Rick's pick.
with X's.
Rick's picks. Rick, why'd you have us watch Wet Hot American Summer?
Well, not to seem like we're advertising or anything, the new show came out.
Netflix fucking pay us.
The most recent season had come out, and so I watched it, and it was really enjoyable.
You're talking about the 10-year
10 years later.
Okay.
Yeah. And I had watched the previous season, the prequel.
Yeah.
And I remember not super enjoying it. But then I watched the 10 years later and really enjoyed it.
Can I ask you something?
Yes.
Does the 10 years later begin with the very last shot of the film that's in this movie?
Yes, to remind you of what's going on.
Okay.
To remind you that they promised each other to meet up 10 years later.
At
That wasn't the very
9:30 p.m.
That wasn't the
Well,
last scene.
at 9
Make it your
at,
beeswax.
no, at
to be
9
there.
a.m. because everybody's going to show up at 9:30.
By the
Yeah.
time we were like in our early 20s, right?
Yeah. We'll know how to like
No.
manage our time.
No, they'd be in their late 20s.
Oh, late 20s?
Late 20s, yeah.
Bad.
They're like
Mid-late
26. in the sequel. So, yeah, I found the sequel really, really funny. And then I went back and watched the prequel again. And then I'm like, you know what? I actually haven't seen the movie in ages. So I'll just fill in the gaps there. Not that there's any gaps to be filled, because there's nothing makes any fucking sense.
So, Roddy, when was the last time you saw the movie?
Oh my god, I watched it like in its and bits from my cousins, and I never actually watched it fully. So like, but the thing is, a part of me is like, I didn't need to watch it fully because I feel like the snippets that I saw are like the snippets that everyone quotes, like are like the best parts. So I think the last time I watched it and like in its parts was probably when it came out, when it was like on DVD, and it was just like the part when it was just word of mouth. Like my cousin was like, "You need to watch this," and then obviously that's when you watch it.
Well, that's when everybody would have watched it, because
So I did it with everybody. I'm not special.
in my research, it was not successful.
DVD.
And it basically became a cult classic with
Thanks,
home
Blockbuster.
video.
Woo,
home video
Blockbuster!
and
Poor Blockbuster.
I
I shed a tear every day.
Yeah.
had never seen the movie until I watched it for this. I've always heard of it, and I was always just kind of cautious because I really don't like those type of movies, like the sex comedies. Like mini rant right now.
Oh my god.
There's a film coming out.
Oh my god.
Uh-oh.
I'm nervous.
About sex or comedies?
There's a film coming out. It's directed by William H. Macy, which pisses me off because he deserves to do a lot fucking better. It's starring Kate Upton and the girl who was recently in Baywatch, and she was in another show, and I forget.
Pamela Anderson.
No.
something.
Recent-
to
She was in
Sorry.
the new Baywatch with The Rock and Zac Efron.
Was she also in The Rock's other classic film, San Andreas?
Yes.
Wow.
It's them two, and the plot of the movie is that they are two single women who both lose their jobs. And so they decide, as friends, to go on a trip. They end up in St. Louis on a layover, and sitting between them on the plane is a really fucking hot dude. And then when the layover happens, they are forced to stay in the state, in the city, and then chaos ensues as both of them try to fuck him.
Is it called The Layover?
Yes.
So it was
You
like
know
a
why that's
really
happening, though, right?
bad version
And
of
I
Planes,
watched-
Trains, and Automobiles.
And I watched the trailer, and the whole time I'm just sitting there going, this is dumb.
Yeah, but that's
And then I
fine.
gave up.
Like sometimes
Because it doesn't deserve a single other breath to tell how idiotic and stupid a movie like that is.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think the reason why it's clearly why it's being made, it's easily marketable. Like it is, and there's
Stupid.
tons of movies that are in
Hot
that
people
genre.
doing hot things.
Yeah, there's tons of movies. Like I think Girls Trip is doing well at the box office, and it's like a similar vibe of
Is
like
that the one when they kill the stripper?
no, that's a Rough Night.
That's Rough Night. That's
Yeah.
actually kind of funny.
I don't want to.
Girls Trip is
The one with
Queen
like, Queen
Latifah.
And
Queen
like-
Latifah's around again?
Jada Pinkett Smith in this?
Yes.
Or Jada
yeah,
whatever.
I think so. I
Jada
think she's in it.
Pickett? No Smith? I don't know anymore.
Is Kerry Washington in
Are they
it?
divorced?
No.
No, Kerry Washington. Brenda from Scary Movies in it.
Yes.
Yes. And then there's another one that I don't know.
I'm sold.
Yeah, and that's doing
It actually got very good reviews.
It's
but it's
doing well at the box office as well. It got a lot more money
yeah,
than
it's
people
basically
expected.
like a little bit of every, women going out and just having a fun, wild time.
But
like
it
crazy
is-
things happen.
But it is
Left
a
over
sex
from, like,
comedy
the
though. Like if you
Hangovers type of thing.
similar. Like have you not have you seen the trailer, like clips of this trailer?
I've only
For-
seen the first
There's
trailer.
a trailer, you tell
where I
the
was
vibe
like,
of
eh.
it. There's a vibe of it where basically they have this thing where there's these two buildings and there's like a zip line between both. And then I think it's Jada Pinkett Smith's character is like, I need to pee. It's like, don't worry. And so what happens is she goes on it,
Oh, yeah, I've seen
stuck
that part.
halfway, and then you know what's going to happen. So that's the kind of film it is.
Yeah.
And if this movie can do well, I can see why a movie like The
But a movie
Layover. would
but
also
a movie
do
like
that.
that can have a moment like that. Because think of fucking Bridesmaids with the shitting in the dress shop.
True, but then maybe The
That's
Layover
not a
can
sex
have
comedy
moment
though.
like
That's
that.
just a comedy.
That's a raunchy comedy.
But
Could
the
this be-
layover just exemplifies why I didn't want to watch Wet Hot American Summer, because I expected it to be that, and then it crushed all that and made me so happy because it basically takes all those movies and says, y'all stupid motherfuckers that watch these movies, we're gonna make fun of them the entire time.
But you're not
So
gonna
let's
watch
get back
that,
to Wet Hot
sorry.
American Summer.
Like, should we rant about like other movies of the time?
Uh,
Like the
not
road Trip had come out already.
Road Trip, not another teen movie, basically the American Pie movies.
All of them.
Yeah,
Like
this is that era. This
Yeah.
is where we are.
the
Like
National
humanity had not
Lampoon
fallen yet.
movies,
Mm-hmm.
like after Chevy Chase left, and like let's get Ryan Reynolds and all these other hot young
Van Wilder.
Van
Van
Wilder.
Wilder, woo!
Yeah, let's get all these movies and put them like some of them are like I love old school, but like there's only a little bit of old school that's like the sex comedy, and the rest of it's really raunchy.
It's old school was after though, like early
A little bit
thousands,
after.
right?
Yeah, but like
But
basically this was the time, and they were
And now they're
loving
having a
these.
resurgence.
And then now
Are they?
they're fucking yay for us.
For some reason, I feel like they're having a resurgence, but they're all more female oriented now.
That still doesn't make it better. I'm sorry.
that just makes it
No, no,
hotter.
but,
It
like,
just
it's
makes-
just-
it just makes
but
it
I-
hotter and funnier.
But that's I find that interesting
I
though.
feel like it makes
All
it
of
worse.
it's gonna be funnier,
like
hotter,
I just
better, faster.
I feel like it makes it worse.
stronger.
just Daft Punk right now. Daft Punk in it.
That's what Daft Punk was all about.
But anyways, back to Wet Hot American Summer.
Sing it.
So, Wet Hot American Summer, some stats. It's comedy. In case you didn't know. No, so it was made in 2001. It was directed by David Wayne, who has made other things. I can't remember.
Role models.
Role Models, yeah. Role Models.
Wasn't that bad. I remember one
Him and a bunch of
scene
people
of
that worked on this movie had a show called The State, which is basically a sketch comedy show.
Which I've never heard of before, and I assume that's because Canada-ness.
Probably. It was written by Wayne and Michael Showalter, and Michael Showalter plays the main character, Cooper. It's starring a giant fucking cast of really popular people who at the time were not that popular, which is kind of crazy.
It's really crazy.
Yeah. So it has Jean Garofalo, David Hyde Pierce, Molly Shannon, Paul Rudd, Christopher Maloney, Elizabeth Banks, Michael Ian Black, Bradley Cooper, Amy Poehler, and just a bunch of other people. John Latrulio, who's now
That's so crazy.
he was in Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and he's on a bunch of other stuff.
If you watch a bit of the like how they're making up, it's just crazy seeing. I think John, whatever his name, I can't say the last one.
John Latrulio.
It's funny seeing the little like line note that explains them. First feature film. It's
Yeah,
just so
there's
crazy seeing
there's
that. 'Cause, like you're so
three of
awesome.
them. It's Bradley Cooper and Amy Poehler as well.
Yeah, first feature film for them. Oh my god.
That's
Yeah.
kind of crazy because now being like they're huge Hollywood stars.
I know, and it's weird to think of, especially who, like Amy Poehler is a comedian, so you're like
Yeah.
you're not surprised.
Yeah.
But
Bradley Cooper. I don't
Bradley
know.
Cooper, it's like weird to be like, because I
The thing
can't
is,
remember the first movie I saw him in was like probably The Hangover or something like that.
He was in, oh yeah, he was in The Hangover, but he usually plays it straight, isn't he? Like he's always
Yeah.
like a straight.
Yeah, yeah. So then eventually making my way back to this.
Well,
film, I'm
Bradley
like,
Cooper.
what?
Bradley Cooper went to the
School of Wizardry.
School of Hard Knocks,
no, he went to the Inside the Actors School.
the
With that
studio
guy with the
school, or is
glasses.
it
He was in-
Scolio?
He was in the audience
Scoliosis.
when they did Inside the Actors
Words.
Studio with Robert De Niro. A young Bradley Cooper was in the audience and asked Robert De Niro a question.
Oh,
And then years later, after a bunch of stuff came out, Bradley Cooper then was up there. He's like, "Yeah, I was in the audience where you guys are right now."
so it
So-
does work.
So we need to find
Education
him and
is
ask-
important.
Education.
But yeah, so it was a huge fucking cast. It was a big failure at the box office. I don't want to grab numbers because it just sounded like everything I read online was like, yeah, no one liked it.
She bombed.
And then it became a cult classic with a following through home video.
Is it like Boondock Saints?
went
how
to
it became a cult classic? Because I feel
Sundance.
like
Did it not?
I don't remember.
I think it did go to Sundance.
Maybe.
Like-
It's a satirical comedy making fun of sex comedies of the early 2000s and late 90s.
Yet set in 1981.
And basically, the plot follows the last day of camp at Camp Firewood.
Firewood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then just weird shit ensues, and there's no way. The easiest way to explain the plot is
What's your favorite moment?
last day. Well, the easiest way to explain the plot is this: last day at camp, we follow the main character, who just wants to get the girl. We follow these other characters that happen to be at the camp. A lot of them just want to find love. That night, there's going to be a big talent show. Everything's going to go down there, and at the very end, the movie pulls the rug out from under you and thinks, oh yeah, our main character got the girl. No, she's a teenager and just wants to have sex, so she's going to go back to her abusive boyfriend who is hot. And then that's the end of the movie.
Yeah, that's like I guess that's the main plot.
But then a bunch of funny fucking shit happens.
crazy-
You lose track of like what's actually going on.
The
You really
crazy-
do.
yeah,
It's clear why this movie has like stayed as popular as it has, and
'Cause
like as fun, because it's just so many memorable moments, so many fucking funny characters, so many just weird things that happen, and
But-
it's so hard to think of them in a linear sense
I think
because
that's-
Hmm.
What makes it great though is that like there's like a progression of like when it goes from like let's be a movie and then it says fuck it, because like I find in the beginning it's just like, oh, it's Ernest, like last day of camp, like he just wants to get the girl, like so it's like it's like little camp things, and then it's just like, I'm just gonna head into town, and I find as soon as they head into
No,
town,
here's
it just goes like
the moment.
bonkers.
The moment you can tell that it goes from, trying to be like, oh, it's fun camp movie or whatever, is the moment that Coop says to Katie, I want you inside me.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
That is the moment that that in my head I went, let's get on this roller coaster.
Yeah.
That was the moment where it's just like, her and Paul Rudd are making out. And then she walks over and starts making fun of him, just like lightly making fun of him, just being like, yeah, you bet that could be me. And he's just like, no, stop or whatever. I'd like to find a girl or whatever. And then he's just like, I want you inside me. And she just turns on, what? And he's like, why? And then it's so hard because it's all just, the movie is just pointing out really funny moments with really weird characters. Like, I think one of my favorite first moments is David Hyde Pierce playing
A teacher assistant? No.
he's playing
an
professor?
associate professor.
associate professor, and he's just staying at looks like a cabin that's next to the camp, and Janine Garofalo's character goes over and is interested in him, sees him, and is like, oh, you're an astrophysicist. Oh, we usually come over and talk to some of like the nerdy kids about space. And he's like, no, I shouldn't. And she's like, no, you should. And he's like, no, I couldn't. I couldn't be. And she's like, no, do it. And then he just like turns to her and is just like, I can't say fucking no. And she's just like, hup, and turns around.
I think what I liked about that scene was like the smaller detail where like he throws his little tiny shovel.
Everything
makes
has
a
a
sound
smashing sound.
It's just like
Everything
it's
has
the
the fucking
same.
smashing
Yeah.
sound.
I was
it's-
like, you're like,
she,
yeah.
she goes to shake his hand and he just hands her the fucking shovel, and then she just like throws it she like whips it down and the metal part comes off. She's holding the handle and she just tosses it, and you can see in the background where it goes, but then you hear a as if it broke a window or something.
But then they like repeat the same sound like three times
a
in the
bunch of
sound amount of
times.
time. Like if it was like the other guy with like the curly hair, he just throws some random shit and then made the exact same sound. Like, oh, I see what you're doing here. It's
Oh
like those
my
little
God.
details that just make it so great.
Like, in terms of, you can definitely tell, for whatever budget it had, I'm sure it had a pretty good sizable budget, but you can definitely tell it has the indie comedy vibe to it, just the way that it's shot. But acting is so funny.
So good.
It's so good for what it does. Like, it's a funny thing is like a lot of these actors that you can point out, and that's the thing is this has a huge cast, but then there's like very specific actors that you can point out, and people will be like, I only know them from this movie, and I might have seen them in another movie if you mention what they've been in. Like Michael Showalter has been in this movie, and he was in Stella, but that's because David Wayne, Michael Showalter, and Michael Ian Black made Stella. Yeah, Showalter was also on some early College Humor stuff, which I loved. But yeah, it's like not really known, and he's the most weird character in the whole movie. What else is there?
I swear I thought they were the same person because even at the end I was like, "How's he doing this? He's doing 2 roles here as the MC."
He does do 2 roles, yeah.
Oh, right.
He
Yeah.
plays the MC.
Yeah, he's just telling all those old jokes. And
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
I'm so old.
And then Michael Ian Black is the counselor with the very short shorts.
He's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing with this though, like if say you just don't like a segment, it's gonna be over in like a minute. So it's like you can just get over it. Like some of them are like, but then like it'll just be like with something better.
It's constant.
Yeah.
It's just like it just keeps
Non-stop.
hammering you with nonstop jokes
And nonsense.
and nonsense.
But then there's like some things that you're like, you know what? At least it gets good details about camp. Because like I remember when it gets to like the talent show, in my head I was like, this probably exists. The talent shows are probably there was this one skit or singing or like friends forever. This is to bunk 7. And in my head I was like, that shit probably happens. Like
Probably.
yeah, or like the kid that doesn't shower. I was like,
Oh my
that
god,
shit
bad
happens.
shit happens. Yeah. That's a really funny little thing that just comes up and up again. It's
Yeah.
like, dude, you gotta take a shower. Your parents are coming. I'm getting in trouble.
Yeah. Like just
It's
shows
played so
up. He's
straight
like,
too. There's no jokes.
yeah,
It's just
I
that
love
too.
the fact though that he's like, you take a shower? Oh yeah, I did. Did you take a shower? Go take a shower. Yeah.
It's kind of well.
Okay.
So obviously,
No,
like,
I will. I
like,
will.
he's so greasy too.
He's wearing
It's
the
like, it's so
beekeeper
gross.
hat. And then it pans down behind the console and nothing's plugged in.
He's just announcing radio to nothing
Yep.
the whole summer, or that
great.
whole day at least.
Or at least that whole day. Yeah, just to no one. And he's just been sitting there the whole time being dirty. Great.
I mean, the obvious thing is like they're supposed to be 16, but they're played by like 30-year-olds.
Yeah.
Which is another thing that like going with like not another teen movie and sort of like road trip and stuff where it's like sort of sexualizing these very young people. It's
Yeah.
it's sort of hilarious that
like
way.
at the very end, how Katie's like, I'm a 16-year-old. And it's like he's being played by a 25-year-old or a 30-year-old. But like, oh God.
The thing that's great about this movie, and I think that's why I feel like it catched on. It's like it's one of those like talking pieces where you just basically say one thing, and then all of a sudden you're reminded about everything
You
else
have-
of that film.
It's definitely a film where it's like, you can't necessarily be like, I think it's a film where it's like you have to tell people just to watch it because everybody's going to find 1 or 2 little things that they think are absolutely hilarious.
Yeah.
And like everybody's just going to pick out what they think is the best part. Which is kind of great cuz it you know, as much as it is like, you know, a satirical comedy and it like pokes fun at everything and has like tons of different moments and all this stuff, it still holds a thorough line storyline.
Yeah. Well, it's very
It's
self-contained
a very
as
simple
well.
Yeah.
story.
I mean, I think it's
but it still holds
it's
the
all
idea.
contained by the fact this is literally like it's the last day of camp. That's all.
Yeah.
You just
That's all you need though.
That's the story.
There's so much weird stuff.
all
Like
you need.
like a kid drowns, and then
Well, no, that's the recurring joke with
That's-
Paul Rudd is
that's
that he
really
keeps
funny.
letting kids die.
yeah.
And then he
just
takes
throws out
the other
one.
kid that sees it out in the van and then throws them out of the fucking door into the ditch. That made me lose it like
That's-
twice.
That's really funny. He does it again. I can't remember what the other kid does.
No, the first
It
time he
was
does it,
the-
the first time he does it is he's making out with Elizabeth Banks.
Yeah.
And it's the kid that was like, "Can I drive the speedboat?" And he lets him. And then he comes back and he just jumps into the water. He's like, "I can't swim." And then he lets him drown. And the other kid's like, "Do you know where my swimming partner is? Because if you don't, I'm going to go and tell whoever, and you're going to get in trouble." He's like, "Hey, let me take you." And then all of a sudden they're in the van. He's like, "Where are we going?" He's like, "Oh, I'm taking you to town to go get a pizza party."
Right. It's like you
He's
love
like,
pizza?
"Oh, yeah,
I love
cool."
pizza.
Throws him out. And then the second time is him and Elizabeth Banks are making out again. And it's the kid who's behind the boat skiing. And he falls down and he gets dragged and then he drowns. And then it cuts back to the bigger dude with the long hair, and he's just like, I don't know, and then it pans down and this kid in a in a life vest being like, is it my turn yet? And then it goes back to the fucking van and throws them out in the ditch.
And then there's all like the
See what I mean?
going into
going
the town,
to town
part.
was that was
But that's the one where it was the
fucking
most.
ridiculous.
It was
Yeah.
the most crazy. Before it was little subtle things.
Yeah, you're like sort of tame. You're like, oh,
Yeah.
a kid drowning, like that's dark, but it's so funny.
But then it was the whole like going from 0 to 100 in that one montage. It's like first it's like they go in and then she catches them smoking some weed and then she's just like, oh, like, and then like little bit
They go
like,
and-
oh, they're cool, and then all of a
go and
sudden it
buy
goes
beer.
to like, yeah,
They
it goes to coke.
what's some other weird stuff? So what's the other like really tame stuff? They go and buy beer.
Yeah, it's
They
beer, cigarettes, or whatever, weed. I guess that was.
Yeah, and then it was just
What's
like,
And
some-
then they
there's,
just
like,
jump
some
into an
other-
alley and just starts.
there's some other like really.
yeah, they jump in the alley and buy.
I
coke.
think there's like a sex thing or whatever where they like pick up someone or whatever. I think something like that.
and
Then yeah, then they go in
Go
the
through
alley
the
and they
den.
grab a fucking bag of coke and then things start going crazy.
She's
And then it turns into like train spotting, which
Yeah,
is
that's so
Yeah,
great.
which
they're
also
shooting
came
up
out
and they're
just
all
before
freaking
this.
out.
Yeah, and then they come back and they're like so like the exact same, totally refreshed. It's like, hey,
It's
how was
ama-
fun?
It's amazing that leaving camp, even for an hour, can feel like so much longer. Oh my! The best end joke to that was, "Hey Kay, so I'm gonna see you later," and she's like, "Okay," and Coop's like, "Cool." Hey guys, wait up! And then you see they're all just standing in the background, standing facing a fucking like cabin, and they're all just standing against the wall, and he just runs up and does the exact same thing. It makes no sense. Hey guys, wait up for me. What was another great fucking part?
See, that's what I mean. This is one of the
Oh,
things.
my favorite character, my absolute favorite character in the whole movie is Glenn, the fucking Vietnam War vet chef.
Gene.
Is Gene? No, okay, Gene. Yeah, he
Yeah.
is my favorite character. I love that relationship he has with the guy where he's just like, "Don't you fucking talk back to me. I was in the Vietnam War. I've seen the shit. You fucking peel those potatoes, you little wiener shit. Now, I'm going to go and get the gravy and then go cover my ass in mud." What did you say? I said, I'm going to go get the gravy. What was the second part you said? I said, I'm going to go talk to my guy in the Navy. I have a friend who's in the Navy. Oh, because it sounded like you were saying that you want to rub your ass and and then later it turns into this whole thing with the talking can of vegetables.
That's really
voiced
weird.
by Archer, right?
Yeah, that's John
Oh, is
H.
it?
Benjamin.
Oh, okay.
It's like one of those things where like, damn, even him.
Yeah, I know.
Like,
Right?
it's just like what?
That is so crazy. That was one of my favorite parts, especially then when he trains.
Should we talk about the boobies, or a specific lack of boobies?
Yeah, there's
There
like a
is
movie.
a very
There's that scene we were talking about this earlier a little bit. There's a scene where there's like three guys and they're peeping on the girls.
Oh yeah.
And you're
Yeah,
like,
that was
this
nice.
is gonna be that moment where they take their tops off and
Yeah.
sort of like start frolicking.
I love that
sexily.
scene. It was just so great. What happens after? It's like, psych! It's gonna be
Yeah.
the exact opposite of what you expect.
Yeah.
Like,
I
when
love
they,
that.
They
I
keep
love-
their bathing suits on, and it turns to a very different place.
They all just like start like throwing a ball around, and then Michael Ian Black's character is just like, "Hey guys, I'm gonna go," and then the two other guys are like, "What? Why do you think he's gonna go? He doesn't want to talk about sexual things open in front of us. Like,
He's so nervous to talk about
like
sexuality.
we gotta find a girlfriend. We gotta
We gotta get him laid.
No, I love. You know what we gotta get him? Penis and vagina. No, dude, sex. I love all their double negatives that they do throughout the entire movie. There's like this, no, the exact same said differently. You fucking moron. I also love how it's just like, where in a teen movie they'd be like, stupid. They just like say the worst slur that they can. Just like, no, you fucking dumbass.
Sometimes I wonder if like the stuff are improv. It had to be because there's that one thing.
Oh, I'm sure there's.
Because like my favorite improv moment is when you can tell it's improv, where she's like, it's John Garofalo, and she's like
Janine Garofalo.
Whoops. Again, every time Janine Garofalo.
Yes.
Wait, which one is she?
She plays.
She's the one that's into David Hyde Pierce.
Right. Okay.
Yeah,
she's
she plays the camp
lady.
director.
Okay.
She was like, okay, these are the people that need to wake up early to get on the bus.
Oh, yeah,
And
she
it's
just
just
starts
like-
naming all the Jewish
Right,
names.
right.
It's like Don Silverstein, and like
Yeah,
it's just like
just
kids are
naming
going.
a
I'm
bunch
like,
of Jewish
it was
names
just
because
so
they're all
great.
going to fucking Boston.
They're all just like fake names.
Like,
so
like you
so
tell like
clearly
she's
fake
pausing
names.
and then like it goes off camera a bit, so you see her like still making up names as she goes on. It's like those little moments like that are just so great.
David Gold,
Yeah,
Steenburn.
like I'm wondering if they did the same thing for like these stupid. Yeah,
But then to finish that off, then fucking he leaves and you can still hear them talking about like we gotta get him to have sex with one of the girls. Oh, who should we get? Ooh, this girl, she's really slutty. And they keep naming the same name, but it represents a different girl, and they're saying how slutty each of them are. And then he ends up in Bradley Cooper's cabin, and they just have hot, passionate gay sex, and it's so awesome.
yeah, like.
Yeah.
Like a part of me is like always wondering like the people that would say watch like a sex comedy, like what you imagine, and just the complete reaction to something like that. Because like a part of me, it's like it feels like almost like this like fu to like the people that want the boobies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It totally
really
is.
is.
It totally is.
Oh, you want boobies? Well, how about two guys having sex?
Yep. Yep.
And not even like it's like it looks like actually it's like tender and loving.
Yeah,
It is,
really sweet.
yeah.
Yeah.
I like the ball that's on the ground.
And I'm trying to
Just try to kick it away.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Or then like later, they follow him,
That was the best.
and they follow him with
It's just like Amy Poehler.
It's him and Amy Poehler, and then they're running through the forest, and then his friends follow him, and then they're having a ceremony by the water, and they get married by Janine Garofalo's character.
the thing is, it was
And
a-
they just start calling him. that was like the part where I was like, "Where is this going?" Like above everything else, nothing has come off where it's just like we're just gonna be insensitive to everything. But then they just start calling him they're both like, "He's a fag,"
yeah.
and they start doing that, and you're like, "Oh shit, what's gonna happen now?" And then they show up like, "Hey, we have something for you. It's a couch. We didn't know if it's going to work with any of your living." And then they're like, "It's perfect for our living room."
Like it has a very SNL kind of sketch vibe with like little things like that.
The
flute,
Actually,
though.
David Wayne and some of them worked on Mad TV for a while.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But the thing that made that scene great though, it was the one where they follow and then you're just thrown off because you see Amy Poehler with a flute, and she's just like playing, and like for some reason every time there's
She's
a
playing
flute,
She's playing the flute. Kinky.
like anytime there's a flute thing, that seems to be like the go-to funny kind of thing. Like they did it. Where did they flute? Like Anchorman. It was like not clarinet, but any type of wind instrument is surprisingly funny.
The whole, again, like going back to the American Pie, the flute.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I don't know if that's a clear reference because I'm not sure which egg happened first / chicken.
I don't know. It's true.
I can't remember what year.
I think American Pie happened first because I looked up 2001. I think it said American Pie 2.
Right, there you go.
So American Pie is first.
Another point I made down was the baseball game.
That was good. Yeah.
That's a great scene to be like, fuck you to all these movies where it's like,
Total red herring.
where it's like,
You have to win.
they got to overcome some odds by mediocrely playing all season, then taking time to make a well organized montage to finally get good, and then by some string of luck that they've planned all year with this one thing, they beat the odds, and then it's just like all the kids are like, like, oh, do you guys not actually want to play baseball? Oh, okay, well, I mean, we don't have to. And then the bus shows up and he walks over. He's like, you can just hear them barely talking. He's like, hey, man, like, the kids don't really want to play. And like, You know, there's no reason. Like, this kind of feels forced or whatever. And then you can barely hear him, but he's like, "Oh, yeah, that's cool. Okay, well, yeah, no, have a good day. See you." He gets on the bus, and then just like he comes back, and he's like, "Yeah, no, they saw that it was meaningless too." All right. It's like because every single, like, so many teen movies have that moment where it's like, gotta do the best at this one thing, and oh my god, it was such a perfect, like, just 180 on the moment. You're like, this has no effect for the rest of the movie, but it's sweet.
It's funny how, like, they spoof certain things, but then they make certain things funnier just by playing it straight. Because, like, I found the whole thing with, like, the nerdy group of friends with the professor, like,
Yeah.
that was normal from, like, beginning to end, kind of, in its own self-contained story. But it's funny just because, like, of how sweet and earnest and, like, kind it is. It's like, you know what, guys? I think this is the best summer ever. Like, or like at the end where it's like, even though all the other days were terrible, this one day makes up for the rest of it. You guys are my friends.
No, he's like, you guys are my best friends.
My only
I mean,
friends.
you're my only friends.
And, like, and I'm like, for some reason this is funnier because it's just like, they're not saying any joke. It's just, that's it. They're just going to be friends.
You could say that we're all crew members on Spaceship Earth. When can we say that? Anytime. Anytime. What are you looking at? Nothing to be concerned about for now. There's so many moments where it's like, what's happening with this group of kids and this weird dude?
Or like David A. Pierce was like, but wait. And he calculates it in his head. Oh, no, I can't.
No, that doesn't
No,
work.
yeah.
No, that doesn't work.
What's wrong?
I love there's no time to tell you. Please meet me over there by that bench in 10 seconds.
Oh yeah, that's
And they're
fucking
totally
great.
alone, and then she like stands, Jeanine Garofalo stands there for a second, 10 seconds,
For literally 10 seconds.
walks over, and then they're all there. He's wearing a lab coat. It's like, this could be catastrophic. It's the spaceship part is supposed to land right on the rec center. Ah, no, that's the talent show tonight.
That's when they like really amp it up.
Yeah.
It's like from that point
It gets
on,
dramatic,
that is
yeah.
like very dramatic.
Yeah, everything gets really dramatic in that. Where was that? The scene where, like, I'm cold, can, like, borrow your sweater? Like, was that before or after it gets all dramatic? Because that for me was just hilarious. And it was so small, but I'm like, why is this so incredibly funny to me?
because they just keep
Remember, like,
part
can
of
I,
the
like,
sweater?
I'm cold?
when Coop is like, I come back here to think, and it's where all the goats are, and then
Oh,
they're
yeah,
sitting there,
okay.
and he's like,
Oh,
he's wearing his flannel, and
right.
she's wearing her sweater, and he's like, she's like, are you cold, Coop? Oh, here, take my sweater. And then she's like, well, now I'm really cold, and he's like, do you want my flannel? Okay, takes off the sweater, takes off his flannel, gives her the flannel, puts on her sweater, and then he's like, you know, that's my favorite shirt.
Just like, oh, no.
So I'm eventually gonna want it back. She's like, you like right now? He's like, yeah. So then he takes it and puts it on over her sweater, and then that turns into the, what are we doing?
Right.
What do you mean? No, but what are we doing? Make out point.
It's like,
and then the goats are just all standing around them.
it's a weird type
Coop.
of comedy.
Goat shit now.
It's a weird type of comedy where, like, in my head, I'm like, this is incredibly stupid. But then in part, you're like, but it is also incredibly smart.
Like,
Like, it's just
Yeah.
like, it's just ridiculously stupid.
I just kept writing bullet points and stuff because it was so fucking funny. The black. Oh wait. Well, so first off, going back to a previous thing. So then there's a character, I forget what his name is, but he's the character who's opposite John Lutrugio's character, where it's like he is wanting to get laid by a girl, and then he's forced to go on this canoe trip.
Oh, that whole thing, yeah.
He's forced to go on this canoe trip, and fucking. If you haven't seen this movie, you really have to see it. But he goes on this camping trip. He's supposed to go on this rowing trip, and he drives the van all the way up there. He admits that he's a virgin, and he really wants to get laid. And he drives all the way up there, and then he drives back. I love the fact that he's just like driving and singing along, and then he always is like, "Oh shit!" and then starts steering the wheel, and he crashes directly
It
into
comes
a
out of
tree.
nowhere because like makes no sense.
No,
How would you get
how
to this tree?
how he crashed? What did he? Did he avoid anything, or did he all of a sudden just crash for no reason?
What was the song? That wasn't Sunshine. Was not On My Shoulders Make Me Happy. That's not the song.
No.
Certain song.
It was funny because in that sequence, it's playing that song, then it cuts back to the camp, and then the cook assistant comes in, and the whole underlying tone is that if you're sitting next to someone and you take out gum and give them a stick of gum and you eat your gum, then you're gonna do it.
Yeah.
So then he does that to the girl that the other guy's been trying to wants to hook up with, and they start doing it, and then she stops. She's like, "Wait. Oh, I meant to take off my shirt." And she takes off her shirt, and then it cuts back, and the song keeps playing on the radio inside the busted car. And he's like, "I'm gonna come see you." And he starts making his way, and then John Ratuja is like, "No, we have to bring him back. He's the only one that knows how to navigate these waters." Okay, I'm gonna go get him, and then just abandons the kids in the water and steals someone's motorcycle, and then chases after him. And there's one bale of hay in the middle of the road, and he can't get by it. So many silly fucking points in this movie. It's so great.
But
And then that plot comes back. They're like, the kids are going to go over the rapids, which are like right next to the camp in the end.
I love the fact that there's a very quick moment where John Letrujillo comes up in the bike, and it's clear that they're using like a small stunt double.
Oh yeah.
Because he's smaller and he has so much more hair. And they go to Jeanine Garofalo, and then they come back to him, and then he's actually him. And then that's the whole fucking freaking out.
That's the best. I think that's my favorite scene in the entire movie, and
They're freaking out.
just
Where's
because
the
it's just
No.
so
Yeah.
it's just so
They
dramatic.
just destroy the whole medical
Where's the
center.
phone?
It's like, what's wrong? What's wrong?
Where's the phone? Where's the fucking phone?
Because like at this point,
They start
like
smashing everything
at this
just
point,
to
just
try to
laid
find
back.
him. Oh my god!
Like that one, they only had one take at,
and
probably.
then they
Probably.
fucking.
but
and
it's
then
so
they-
ridiculous, you could not fuck it up.
And then they fucking. And then he finds the girl, and the girl's making out with like the little kid.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, what's your name again?
Oh, this is. You're probably gonna think this is gonna sound really conceited. What's your name again?
Shallow.
You think it's gonna sound really shallow? What's your name again?
Yeah, it's just I feel like this is how like it just got popular. Like I think it like someone watched it and then like I don't know, you're just chilling with your friends and it just becomes this
Like, how do
endless
you sort of
spiel.
describe
You
Right,
gotta watch
yeah.
this. There's
'Cause,
this
like, even-
really funny part.
No, like even with this, I feel like pointing out things. There's no point in critiquing it or like pointing out weirdnesses. It's just more of like a weird experience that you just like watch with friends, and I think that's what solidifies it as a cult classic.
it's hard because you can't.
Because cult classes are usually like this, where you're just like, you just gotta watch it,
Yeah,
and then
there's-
you just
yeah.
understand.
No
But
real
it-
reason.
Yeah.
No, there's
do
nothing you
it.
can really like point. You can. It's hard because you can't really point out its flaws because the flaws are meant to. If there are flaws, they're meant to be there.
Yeah, you're gonna if you
And
don't.
if they're not meant to be there, then the filmmakers obviously didn't care that there was flaws because they're too busy trying to make it weird and funny and
make you laugh and all
Yeah.
that stuff.
Yeah,
so
it's
if
just
you,
like
if
a.
you don't like this type of comedy, which you can't even really peg it down as a type
no.
yet, sort of sketchy.
Yeah, if you,
sketch
I think
comedies.
it's like a sketch comedy. Like if you don't like improv kind of sketch kind of things, then
Then you're not
it's
gonna
not
like it.
for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you prefer something with like a story and like a structure with like a beginning, middle, of end with like ups and downs, you're not gonna get that. You're just gonna get like just random moments of like random things, but because they're performed by like this
i.e.
wonderful comedic cast, you love it.
I.e., when Jeanine Garofalo asked, oh, that was what it was when they went into town.
To get to the library.
They both went to the library to study up on
Oh,
each other's
right.
jobs.
At the library.
And then later, when she comes over, she's like, "Here, come over to the capture the flag, and then later you can go back and do all these things." And that's when they started hitting off. And then it goes to the capture the flag, and it's in slow motion, them trying to grab it. And then all of a sudden, this like Kenyan dude comes out of nowhere, grabs the flag, and starts running with it. And it goes into slow motion where he's beating them all running. And then it ends, and that's it for the joke. It's just like out of nowhere. It's just like, and then there's a really fast Kenyan dude, which I'm pretty sure is probably one of the only colored people in the entire movie. But you know,
I mean, I
Yes.
think that's like the only.
That would be a problem.
For me, that's like the only like fault.
They sort of change it in the show.
I
Shows.
figured because it's like newer. Like back then, it wasn't.
Sort of. It's
for
still
s-
the same white people. They
Like
just
back
added
then-
different people.
Back then, it wasn't expected, nor was it commented on. But for some reason
Yeah.
now, thankfully, it is something that's more obvious.
Yeah, it's really weird. It's really weird.
It was a weird time back
Yeah,
then.
well, yeah.
2000.
Looking back, it's like, huh. You're like, everyone used to be white. Huh.
Yeah, it's weird. American
Um,
Pie,
yep.
Yep.
no, teen movie. They made fun of it though with the token black guy.
Right.
The token black guy she's with that I think was Usher. So, anyways, but yeah, that I guess the thing is, what I guess it's kind of making fun of that too as well, in its own way, and like I guess it's addressed. But yeah, I like this film. It's just random. Like I can't hate on it. Like the thing with this is that again, it requires no mental effort.
Yeah.
Like I can be in a shitty mood, put it on, and be like, whatever, it's on. Like I'm not gonna be mad if it's on.
It's definitely rewatchable
It
too.
should be like
Oh,
our
yeah.
stamp of approval.
Oh, yeah.
Should like everything we watch be like, I'm not mad I watched it. I'm not
I'm-
mad at it.
I'm so not mad.
Just like stamp of approval. Not
No,
mad.
This movie is great.
Will not make you mad.
No, it'll make you the opposite.
Actually, I even watched like the making of thing, which
Oh,
is just fucked.
it's in bits. Because I just felt like I wanted some background of how the hell they got all these people. But,
They
like,
don't. They don't give you any of that.
They
The,
don't. they
like the
don't-
impressive takeaway from that is that it rained like every day for the shoot.
But they kind of made it like a camp too, right? It's almost like they were at camp. Like
Yeah,
living there. It's just so weird.
Well, they
seeing-
said that at the very end of the credits.
That it rained every day.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, they said thank you for all the people who stayed with us while through a wet, terrible Pennsylvanian spring.
Yeah.
Because then after the credits, it goes 10 years later, and then it shows like 1991, and then it shows like 9:35, and then the bigger dude with the longer hair comes in. He's like, "Oh, sorry, I showed up at 9:30 because I thought that's when we'd be here," and then it cuts back in, and you see all of them all now dressed up. And Amy Poehler's like, no, we said we made it 9 because we knew that we'd get here at 9:30, and then it ends.
Yeah.
And you get like a second to look at everybody, as they are now 10 years older.
Right.
Which that's why I asked you at the beginning is like,
Oh, I
do they
think-
stick to that? Which I don't think
No.
so.
They throw it all out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which kind of sucks because it would have been like that would have
Well-
been funny. But I think all the characters at the end look a lot are just meant to be like they're 10 years older from where they were now. While if you were to get the opportunity to make a 10 years later show, you're like, no, we're going to take some of these characters and make them all fucking weird
Well, there's
and like outrageous. in some
a
aspects.
single joke from the sequel that I'll sort of spoil for you, but I wasn't aware of it really because they do it so well.
What?
So it became funny only after I was aware of it. They add 2 characters and they cut them back into some old footage.
That's funny.
So I literally didn't notice.
That's funny.
Probably because I hadn't seen the film in a long time.
Yeah.
That I was like, what?
That's
it wasn't
real-
until after I was like, oh yeah, these guys weren't in the fucking movie.
Do they cut out characters? No.
No,
But
they
that's
just
really funny.
add
that
2
they
more
added-
characters. And you're like, what?
and pretended as though they were there the entire time.
Yes.
That's really funny.
Yeah.
Nice.
How is it though? Because like looking back at the cast, like I haven't watched it, but I heard like a lot of do people just somehow go missing? Like all of a sudden, like you don't see people for a long time. Just scheduling the cast would seem so difficult.
Not really. It's mostly the same, right? So like you'd have
Oh, okay, so
like, in terms of like
snippets.
scheduling stuff, you're like,
Yeah.
this is like Paul Rudd's little arc is in these like couple episodes or whatever, and he's like in this. So, I mean, really, you don't need any. I mean, the hard part would be like who's in which scenes when.
True,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like scheduling.
Well, I mean,
wise. That would be tough.
In the first one, Bradley Cooper only had
Right, he has scenes with like Amy Poehler and
half a dozen lines,
Yeah.
and he was
Michael
only
Ian.
in like majorly scenes with Amy Poehler, and the two of them were in probably
But speaking of Bradley Cooper, do you find
30 minutes of the movie.
in my head I'm always wondering like
Not even.
is he funny?
He is.
Okay.
I think he's very fun. I think the fact that he can easily play a straight man. I think that's the thing. A lot of
I guess it's
really
hard
really
to
funny
play.
people can play just like this. This is the thing is like in a lot of comedy groups, the straight man is the funniest person.
Because
It's
it's hard
because-
not to laugh at everything.
Well,
Yeah.
that's true. Yeah, that makes sense.
It's hard not to laugh at
More
everything,
respect
but
for
also
Bradley Cooper.
funnier than the rest. Nothing you say will
that's what a lot of like comedians say is that the funniest person in the group were the straight people because they had to try to be funnier than the people who were trying to be funny.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's like in the Three Stooges, a lot of people off camera say that Moe was the funniest of them all.
I guess for me, what I've seen Bradley Cooper done, it's like it's this, and then it's Rocket, and then
I like to attribute to the Robin Williams effect. Robin Williams did so many comedies, and he did so many serious things. And in both, he was genius.
Yeah.
And great actors can do both.
I guess I haven't watched
John
The
C.
Hangover.
Reilly, perfect example.
True.
He's an award-nominated actor.
Oh man, he was in that movie with Jennifer Aniston. It was like the saddest thing ever, wasn't? Like
He's
The
been
Good
in a
Girl?
bunch of movies.
I remember I was like watching that. It's the saddest thing ever.
I've recently
like this-
watched
It's the saddest Jennifer Aniston movie.
Step Brothers for the first time this year.
Yeah.
Fucking awesome.
Yeah,
I didn't think I would like it
Oh yeah, John C. Reilly.
because it's so dumb.
it is so dumb.
I think the older I get, I appreciate dumber movies more.
It's a really
I mean,
fucking
yeah.
dumb movie.
Because there's things that you just want. You don't
No.
want to pay attention.
But it
don't
plays-
want
When I was a little younger, I was like, I want my mind to be expanded.
But it plays
I'm
to
like, I'm
this
sick of that.
this type of a movie where it's like it's just dumb and funny. Like
I find that movie though is based on like your capacity to take Will Ferrell.
Oh yeah,
Because like Will Ferrell is like so,
as are the best Will Ferrell movies, though, right?
like Will Ferrell is like I don't know. Sometimes I feel like he's an acquired taste.
Oh yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
With a lot of SNL comedians or sketch type of comedians, it's sort of that where they're like, you see when they get to do what they want to do,
Yeah.
and when they're doing that, you're gonna really love it or you're not. Same with like Mike Myers and all those.
So crazy with Mike Myers. He's still Austin Powers to me. Like I don't think I've ever.
he's still Wayne.
Or Wayne. Yeah.
Wayne and Austin Powers. Those are great. Those are great.
Like other
characters.
than that, I
Wayne.
just don't remember like the Guru. I remember that did terribly.
I
The Guru?
didn't
I don't
see
remember
it.
that
Love
film.
Guru. Saw
Nope.
parts of it.
Nope.
Of course, they shot it here.
Terrible.
What I
Bad.
find interesting
Stupid.
too was with Paul Rudd. I feel like when I saw him in this, I was like, Paul Rudd is just Paul Rudd. Like that Paul Rudd could be put into Paul Rudd that was in 40-year-old version, and that Paul Rudd, like he kind of has like this similar, except for maybe Ant-Man. But then he was like a low key Paul Rudd in Ant-Man.
Yeah, that's true.
It's like it's
And
one of the ones that
The
saying Paul
least
Rudd is like Paul Rudd.
least Paul Rudd movies are role models, and I Love You Man.
Yeah, I agree with like
Yeah.
I Love You Man. Yeah.
I love both those movies.
But then again, I
But
I,
then
I
Paul
look
had
at
a little
I look
moment
at
where
those
he
two
played the
movies.
piano.
And then I look at those two movies. I'm like, that's more Paul Rudd than the other movies. I look at Paul Rudd and I see those two versions. I don't really see like this version where I'm like, I watch this movie and I see Paul Rudd and I'm like this is Paul Rudd playing it up so hard, like just cranking it to 11,
No,
just
I-
with like the fucking clean up your mess bit
oh yeah,
where he's left eating alone and then he just knocks his plate onto the ground and Jeannie Garofalo's just like, are you gonna pick that up? And he just like acts like a baby the whole time. He's just like trying to grab it off the ground and
No, it
flail
is.
about.
It's
as if
almost
he's
like
fucking
a Paul Rudd
two.
spectrum, and you just like again, it's like they turn it up this way, a little Paul Rudd, or like extreme Paul Rudd. Where do you want to go?
Yeah.
Because like I did like him in like Role Model, but like my favorite scene is just him playing the piano. Because I feel like, do you remember that? Is that the one
In-
where he plays like a fake piano and he's just like doing all crazy things in Role Models? It was like Sean William Scott.
Yes.
And
yes.
I swear he does like a physicality that makes him when he does physical humor, it's like great.
Mhm.
Like you can't help but just laugh at him because for some reason he knows how to contort his body. Not that many do.
You don't expect it.
Yeah.
Not from him that much. I don't know why.
I also like Paul Rudd in Friends.
He's in Friends.
He was in
Everyone's
Friends. He was Phoebe's fiance and then became husband.
Oh yeah, I remember. That.
He's gonna be like Mike. Was it Hancock? That was his name gonna be? And she wanted to be like Phoebe Banana Hammock or something. Princess Consuela Banana Hammock. And it was like, but he made that so well. Like it's like he was a late addition to the 10th season, and like he made what is like at a show at its 10th season like pretty fresh and like pretty entertaining.
Mm.
Yeah.
The last couple things I have on my list, just to talk about moments in the movie, are like basically near end and then the very end. So then the talent show, like just having Showalter come out and play that fucking MC, and having just playing up the joke so much that his dumb jokes are the funniest things in the world to all these people, and then when they finally do
Day by day.
do the Godspell number, everybody's like watching in amazement, and as soon as it's over, they all just boo the fuck out of the people on
Yeah.
stage. I do love that before that, Amy Poehler comes out. He's just like, I first want to say that all these people up here are acting suck dick, but they're all gonna do a great.
It's a classic Amy Poehler. She's really good at that.
She just gets mad.
Yeah.
When what's
When
his
she's
name?
saying gonna get the guy to be
What's
in
his
her
name?
play.
Kevin Crossman or something.
The guy that's in Big Bang Theory.
Yeah, the dude
Yeah.
that's in Big Bang Theory who plays the comic book shop owner.
He's like, I'm gonna let you guys be in the talent show. I was like, no. And it's like, fine, you can. She always gets what she wants.
Yeah.
And like she throws the sheets down.
And
like,
Bradley Cooper keeps picking
like,
them up.
like,
That's
Stop picking it up.
I love that a lot of his moments where he just be it's one of the things where it's like it's a great moment when a really serious actor, and it's funnier now. I think his role in that movie is funnier now than it was then,
Yeah.
because now he's known so well.
Yeah, you're like,
that
this
his
is a real
part
serious
then
guy.
is really funny. Like a lot of people shit on roles like Channing Tatum in This Is the End, when I think that's the funniest thing in the world.
People shat on that. Other people enjoyed seeing Channing Tatum.
I love
as
when
that
a
role.
serious person and someone with a high profile shows up and just
Hold up.
what's it called?
Deprecates.
Self-deprecates
Channing
himself.
Tatum. Channing Tatum was never. I think he was always self-aware of his like.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because like
Handsomeness?
she's the man. He was in Step Up. He was like a custodian that also knew how
Yeah.
to dance.
But I love the fact that like now you can look
Highbrow
at
shit, Rowdy.
Now-
Highbrow.
now you can look at
I also did that Comrade Detective thing. Have you heard of Comrade Detective? It's
Oh,
yeah, the one
Oh.
that's basically a Russian film.
the Amazon.
Yeah,
one.
it's like a Russian TV show that
Never
they
heard of it.
unearthed, and it's basically they filmed it and they dubbed it with Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Channing Tatum.
oh wow, that's
They
interesting.
dubbed it?
They dubbed it, and so it's like Jenny Slate.
So it just is a Russian film, or no?
No, the actors in it are acting. You got Michael Shannon as the main character, and he's being dubbed by Channing Tatum.
That's
But
what
if
the
you
fuck?
watch some of it, it's so played real and like not so comedic. But it's just like it's like watching what a cop show would be in Russia at the time. Because they're like, you capitalist scum, we give you everything here. Food on your table. It's like it's equal everywhere. You're just a capitalist punk. And the big thing is about genes and capitalism. It's like, how did she get these genes? It's just so weird.
Is it
It's
a
just-
movie or a show?
It's a 6-episode show.
Okay.
It's like
What the fuck?
it's weird,
I-
and sometimes it tests your patience, but it's just like
Right.
it's just surreal.
I was
really fucking
thinking,
weird.
I
That's why
saw it and
Channing
I was like,
Tatum is
I
pretty
sh-
self-aware.
I should watch this. I don't know if I would enjoy this or
Um,
not.
It's
What
It
was
seems like
it?
it's like what's that? Kung Fury or whatever.
Kung Fury.
it's better than Kung Fury. I think,
No, not
just
Kung Fury.
because
There's another one. The stupider one. The stupider movie.
there's something stupider than Kung Fury.
Yes.
But
The
dude,
stupider movie
don't want to watch
from the early thousands. It's like a kung fu movie.
Kung Pao Enter the Fist.
That's the one.
Yeah.
Oh, now I thought that was the same one. Kung Fury is
Karate
wild.
fighting cows.
Yeah.
Was Kung Fury Christopher Walken in the ping pongs?
No, Kung Fury is that little like 23-minute thing on Netflix,
Oh, Kung Fury.
which I
yeah.
love actually.
Yeah.
I fucking love
My
that.
favorite scene in that is basically with the mustache.
Triceratops.
But what I was saying is
Brilliant.
with Bradley Cooper, I think now it's because a lot of his scenes he's silent, he has no lines, but then that makes it even funnier now. And I love that where he's just like that scene where he keeps picking up the thing is he doesn't say anything, or whenever Amy Poehler's like, because I'm the producer, and he just goes, and she's like, director and choreographer. He doesn't say a lot, but that makes it even funnier because now he's super popular. And yeah, it makes it even funnier. And then what else happens at the talent show? Oh, kid balancing broom.
Oh yeah.
Pretty dope. Just like 2 seconds and then he's done.
Well, that's accurate.
And
I feel like that's what I never been to camp, but then I feel like out of the lows of camp, that would be a low.
yeah,
It's like
Yeah.
something.
what's your talent?
Yeah.
And then gone. And then the dude from Big Bang Theory just like control the wind.
Yeah, that's really weird.
And
It's a
and
great song.
And then I do love the fact that they're all, once the thing crashes and they're all sitting there and all the nerd kids are sitting there and they all have that deep conversation that starts off with like, they're like, the fact that this didn't hit the rec hall isn't because, it's because of the rolling the dice, right? And not the fact that there was a big wind that just came through and blew it over. No. That whole
Yeah.
thing was really funny. And then just like Coop coming in after being trained by the fucking chef in the can of vegetables to be cool. He comes in, you can barely hear what he's saying. I think at one point Katie's just like, "What'd you say?" And he's like, "Here, I got you a present." And then my favorite, which is the full ending, where it's like all the people and everybody's super happy, everybody's like falling in love and all that cool shit. And Katie comes up to fucking Coop and it's just like, "Last night was great, and I really care about you, but I'm 16 and I just want to fuck. So I'm gonna go off with this guy, and I don't care if he cheats on me, or, you know, how shitty he is, but he's hot. And when I say hot, like way hotter than you. And like, I just want to fuck him. But we'll keep in touch, right?" And the whole time, Michael Showalter, Coop is just like, and then it just ends. This is the best ending you can ask for.
Mm-hmm.
I was so mad at that ending but then afterwards I realized I was like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
it wasn't.
that's the
point.
best ending it can be, because it's a big fuck you to all these movies that are like, ooh, sex and wild parties and all this stuff, and then but at the end you can find love and find the right girl
Love.
and find the girl of your dreams and she'll love you. It's just like, nope. Everybody's happy except for our main character.
Which, yeah, I think that's why. I'm trying to think of a movie like this. Like, there's only a few movies that have this. Like, it's hard to define the genre of it. Like, you say satire, but it's a whole lot of random things.
Yeah, it's its own.
Yeah. and-
Weirdly, it's not straight up a parody.
no, because it plays some serious bits.
Well, that's why it's satire. It pokes fun at a lot of different things.
Life at
Yeah.
most. Life is the biggest bitch of them all.
But you don't get that much. Like, I can't think of another film that is like what Hot American Summer.
No.
That's so like sketchy and so like randomly placed.
Yeah.
Like, maybe there was like that Super Troopers movie, but I haven't watched it. But I feel like that's
You haven't
more
seen
like
Super Troopers?
no.
You should see Super Troopers.
Super Troopers. The second one's coming out soon.
You should see
So
Super
just sounds like
Troopers.
a
Super
I know you're
Troopers
like,
is Super Troopers, I'd say, in the same sort of field, even though there's more of a story.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
much more straightforward.
Super Troopers and Waiting.
Right, yeah.
Waiting's with Ryan Reynolds. And it sort of does the same thing where it all takes place in one day at a restaurant, but then it keeps bouncing around to all different places within the restaurant. And so it sort of still has that feeling of what American Summer is.
Mm.
And then, God, Super Troopers. Super Troopers is like that in the same sense. Like, it doesn't really stay in one place and kind of just bounces around. It more or less, it follows through a small story that's pretty easy to follow. But then it's very sketch based, where it's like moments along this story. You know.
Brian Cox. Brian Cox is it?
It's a very serious actor, isn't it?
Sometimes.
No? I think.
When he's in a Bourne movie.
Oh my gosh. No, this is, God, it's honestly a really great movie, and you have to watch it. If you love comedy, why haven't you watched it? Like, I don't know why it took me so long to watch it, but I'm so glad that I finally have. And I definitely am going to check out the Netflix series just because I want to see, and I kind of want to get more of this sort of same humor. And hopefully I won't be totally disappointed.
I heard some people are not like people didn't like the third one as much, but I feel like it's just like the whole, like, what's that thing called? The more you repeat it, eventually, law of diminishing returns.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's just that. Like, I think it's just people are just tired, but I think it's the same kind of content.
It's always the same content.
Yeah. So like, it just depends if you
But
get.
they don't recycle jokes so much.
Mm-hmm.
It's usually new shit.
Yeah.
New shit, same package.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But yeah, no. So if you have seen Wet Hot American Summer, or if you haven't and you do watch it because of our recommendation, go watch it, because we mostly just sat here and like
Quoted the movie for like
quoted
an
the
hour.
movie basically.
Yeah, pretty much.
Talked about all our favorite parts and loved it, but it's because there's very little bad you can say about the movie because of how it's made and how well it's done and its own style and everything, that it's definitely a movie you just have to experience and you have to see, because it's just the way it goes. Like, you have to just watch it. You have to experience it, and then you'll understand why people like it. And if you don't like it, then that's cool. Let us know why you don't like it if that's the case.
Yeah, it's only like an hour and a half or whatever.
Yeah, it's very good, and it's a must see. But yes, so thank you again for checking out the Unknown Era podcast. Next time, I teased it at the beginning, but next time I'm going to have these two guys. I've read about half of this, and I haven't gotten to read.
I mean, there's pictures.
I haven't gotten to read the second half, but so now I figured, I'll make these guys check it out. Is Volume 1 of Saga by Brian K. Vaughan and illustrated by Fiona Staples. This is an award-winning graphic novel. It's the start of a very long series. It's very good. I've read half of it so far, and I sadly was on a trip and just didn't have time to read the second half, and I'm itching to do it, so I'm definitely going to do it within the next couple of days. But if you can find this online if you want,
Can it be found at my local library?
or probably,
Yeah.
or you
We
can
do live in a very good library system.
or you can borrow this if you want. But yeah, it's a very good book. So if you've read it before, comment below and let us know what you think. What you think of it, and what your opinion is of it and stuff, and and let us know on social media and stuff.
I have an opinion already, but I should probably keep it quiet.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, don't spoil anything for me.
Last spoiling. People love spoiling things.
It's a really, really great book,
Some people
and
get high off it.
High off of
full of
spoilers.
Yeah.
interesting surprises.
You watch Game of Thrones.
So go watch
Mouth
that. Go
out,
read
just
that.
say
Go
no.
read it. Look at the pictures too, because it's a graphic novel. It's much more exciting. And yeah, tell us what you think. So thank you for listening and watching, and make sure to follow us all on the social medias. And remember that you'll get to see the episode of Saga a week early if you help support us on Patreon. It helps us. It helps us make stuff, and you get early content before other people. And then, of course, we also do our after podcast show, Friendly Banter. We get to talk about whatever we feel like, and we would love for you to join in the conversation, give us topics, ask us questions, and all that stuff.
All that is.
But yeah, thank you for joining us, And we will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.